Great Battles of Julius Caesar Deluxe Edition is a big game. It's 2 games in 1, in fact. It's ambitious for sure. Join me in this video as I put everything all back together again here on Legendary Tactics. Well, it may not look like it from this distance, but this is actually one of the biggest games in my collection, perhaps the biggest game in my collection. It's actually 2 games that were melded together. Caesar, the Civil Wars, and Caesar, Conquest of Gaul, both of which came out in the mid-90s. And this has been reorganized, and they revamped the rules so everything fit together. And it presents 20 scenarios. Interestingly, they are rolled out in chronological order, so you can get a sense of the evolving tactics and strategies of Julius Caesar, which is really an intriguing thing. Now, the scenarios, some of them are nice and are reasonably short, just a few hours. Some of them are kind of more monster games, taking many hours, but I do love the concept. I think it's a really neat concept. There's lots of baggies that they throw in there, as well as only 3 dice. I love how these games have so many charts and so forth, and only 3 dice. You feel like you should have different dice for each chart or something like that. But they've got a bunch of different charts here, player aids to organize the game. And while I'm still getting introduced to this game, still getting acquainted at this point, the rules are apparently pretty straightforward. It's actually not that complex a game to play, even though it might take some time to actually play through a scenario. The rules aren't that complicated, which is encouraging to me. As you know, any of these games are always going to have player aids and charts. That goes with the territory with this type of game. So that's a quick glance there. And then you have the maps. And I like the one map is like the Bay of Biscay. It's just a blank thing. They're all paper maps. Obviously, when you have this many map boards, you can't possibly mount them. It's just not going to work. And if you want to have a box that the average human can carry. So the maps are paper, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but I understand why they had to make that decision from a production standpoint. The maps are kind of interesting, though. Some of them have, forts. Some of them are have cities. Some of them are quite plain. It really they are depicting the battles as best they can with the maps that they have. And most of the maps, 6 of the 7 maps, are actually double-sided. So you're getting almost 1 map per scenario. The colors and everything seem fine. I've noticed this even from the old days of Avalon Hill, that the ancients, the maps, probably because there wasn't a lot of civilization at that time, a lot of the maps are pretty, plain. They don't have sort of houses and farms and so forth. It's more just open plains or maybe some, mountains, maybe the odd fortified city, something like that. But it's not typically as maybe colorful as, say, the maps became with I don't know, Advanced Squad Leader or something like that. But they're very functional. And I think as long as you can get them to lie flat, might require some plexiglass to do that. They do look interesting. The maps themselves look very well made, and they're very well designed, I'm sure, to maximize the gameplay. And really, I mean, ultimately, the game is going to live or die on the gameplay, not so much the maps. They have naval rules here. You'll know, if you recall, the earlier map with the Bay of Biscay. So the naval rules they're 12 pages long, so you can have some naval battles. And then the main booklet, the main rule book here, is 48 pages, which might be intimidating to some. It certainly has a bit of heft. But from what I've read of it so far, it seems quite clear, and I've heard good things as far as the system. As I said earlier, it's not that hard to learn. The scenario book, wow, 80 pages. This one you really feel it's a good weight in your hand. But The way it's laid out is really good. It has a very casual feel to the text. There's a lot of sort of little jokes put in there, and so it's actually quite fun to read. They have all the history as well, of course, and some of the scenarios are deliberately unbalanced just because that represents the historical situation. So I think it's a good thing to get a sense of the history, which is what this game is all about, is bringing that history to life. And we have counters as well, a grand total of over 2,000 counters. Now, fortunately, they don't need to be on the board at the same time, so some of the engagements are reasonably small. My plan is actually to break these out gradually on an as-needed basis, because storage is going to be interesting for this many counters, and keeping them organized. There's only so many baggies that you can use. I have seen storage solutions online, people creating different containers to make sure that all their pieces are organized. But I love the colors. It's they're very bright counters. When you're used to just sort of one color or whatever, I think that it will actually have a pretty decent board presence when everything's set up, because you'll have the different factions and they'll be very easy to identify for the most part. The icons themselves are actually reasonably colorful as well. They're depicting the people, the warriors, and so forth. We're not using the NATO standard symbology that we're used to World War II with World War II games. They actually had a bit of creative freedom, I think, to draw the legions and draw the soldiers in. And so I think overall this game, if you love the history of ancient warfare and Julius Caesar in particular, I think this is one worth checking out.